Hello and welcome to another HeroQuest video. Today I'm going to be painting the elf from the main game. As you can see, I have primed him white, or her as the case may be, and I'm going to be using the card art as a reference. First colour up is going to be Null Noil. Now I'm going to wash this Null Noil over the top of the model in kind of a reverse slap chop technique. I will water down the Null Noil at least 50-50 before applying it, however, because I don't want it to discolour the raised areas of the miniature. So the first colour up is going to be Broadsword Silver from the Army Painter Speedpaints range, and I'm going to use it to paint all the armoured areas of the elf, including some areas of the boots, the knees and the upper torso. I'm also going to hit the weapon with this colour. The initial wash of Null Noil will add like a pre-shading effect. I will, however, probably still hit it with another wash at the end of the painting session, we'll see. The next colour up is going to be Peachy Flesh that I'm going to use for the skin tone of the miniature. Again, this is very easy to do. There's some bare skin parts of the miniature. If you're not sure, look at the card art. It can give you reasonable guidelines as to where to paint and where not to paint. At the end of the day though, this is your model and it's entirely up to you what you see as skin and what you see as clothing. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. The elf has some vials or flasks round his waist, probably potions of some description. So I'm going to use this Ghoul Green to hit one of them, because it's a nice bright green. And I'm going to use this Raging Sea colour to hit another one of the flasks round his waist. I'm now going to paint the elf's cloak. I'm not exactly certain what colour the cloak is on the card art. It's kind of a bluey, purpley, grey colour. You'll have to make up your own mind what colour you see it as. I chose to use a colour called Royal Robes, although when I put it on the palette I decided it was too blue, so I ended up adding some Purple Swarm in about a 50-50 mix to try and change the colour of that royal blue to a slightly more purplish colour. I'm reasonably happy with the results. You can see for yourself what you think in the finished product. I'm now going to paint the remainder of the elf's clothing. I'm going to use Grim Black from the Army Painter Speedpaints range. It kind of dries a really dark grey. You'd need to go for the second coat if you want a black finish, but I'm going to go for the dark grey colour. I think it looks quite nice. Again, these are all the colours that I'm choosing. You can choose something entirely different. It's just that I have decided to stick to the card art for this base set, because my players basically are new to the game and I want them to find things as easy as possible. The next colour up is Rudy Fur, and yes, you're not seeing things, that is the wizard. I'm painting both the wizard and the elf at the same time, although the wizard will be a separate video. I'm using this Rudy Fur to hit the leather belt on both the elf and the wizard. I'm now on to getting the first colour down on the base, and again I'm going to use Adeptus Battle Grey. That's the colour I have chosen for my entire set. It keeps everything uniform, but again, choose whichever colours you like. Just make sure you use a regular paint and not a speed paint. The speed paint is too translucent for this purpose. I'm now going to use some white in this case Game Colour Dead White by Vallejo, and I'm going to paint a ring around the base of the model. Take your time and be as neat as you can when you're doing this, although don't worry about it too much. We're going to be colouring over the top of this, and at the end of the day it just looks like he's standing on a slab of stone anyway, so you're not going to do too much damage here if your brush control isn't great. Now, although the pre-shade helped, it hasn't done exactly what I wanted it to do completely. So I'm coming back in with the Null Noil Neat, and I'm going to hit the elf's hair because I want to add some definition. I'm also going to paint some areas of the sword and of the armour because I want them to have more shading. I'm now going to use Reikland Fleshshade, a Citadel wash, and I'm going to hit pretty much the entire miniature. The areas of clothing that I haven't hit with the Null Noil anyway, and also the flesh. And again, this is going to add some shading and tie in some of those colours. If you are new to painting, I highly recommend that you pick up some of these Citadel washes. Reikland Fleshshade, Null Noil and Igrax Earthshade would be the first three I would go for. You'll get the most use out of those. I'm now going to use Slaughter Red to paint that ring, that white ring around the base of the miniature. And again, this is just to make sure they're very visible on the table, that the players can look down and see instantly what's a player character and what's a monster. Don't worry about being super neat with this, it won't really make any difference if you hit the grey by mistake. And lastly, I'm always going to recommend that you varnish your miniatures, especially your HeroQuest miniatures. So I like to use this Galeria matte varnish by Winsor Newton. Use whatever you've got. Use a gloss varnish if you want, although it will be very shiny. Just make sure you varnish your miniatures. And that's it. Model complete and ready for gaming with. I'm reasonably happy with how it turned out considering how quickly it was painted. I may go in at a later date and touch up here and there, and because I've used a matte varnish, I can quite easily paint over the top of that with a regular acrylic paint. So don't think because you've varnished something that that's the end of your painting. You can go back in if you want and paint over it again, or add detail that you may have missed initially. I hope this video has been of some use to you, and I hope you're going to hang around for the wizard, which will be the next video up very soon. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't, please click the subscribe button, and click the share button, and click the wee bell icon, and click the thumbs up or the thumbs down if you've thought this video has been trash. I don't mind, honestly. This is really just a hobby for me, and I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy interacting with you folks, and hopefully everybody gets something out of it. Thank you, and see you in the next video.